Hello, it's my pleasure to be back here in another episode of Culture Mosaic. Today in our program, we will get to know more about new aquarium hobby trends among youngsters here in Vietnam. And our On the Mic this week is for art lovers and fashionista, as we have a little talk with a famous Italian designer. And last but not least, we will explore the special elements of a Hanoi fashion show that gathered Vietnamese and Filipino traditional costumes, as well as modern renditions. So why don't you sit back and relax, as here are the headlines for today's show. Aquarium hobby trends among Vietnamese youngsters. Fine arts meet fashion in Raffaella Curiel's haute couture designs. And finally, Vietnamese and Filipinos exchange culture through fashion show. And first, let's review the cultural highlights from the last week. At 11 p.m. local time on Thursday, UNESCO officially recognized Nghệ Tĩnh Vi Dặm folk singing as a world intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This took place at the 9th session of the UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. Vi Dặm folk singing was originally sung by farmers in the north central region of Vietnam and has its roots in the Vietnamese countryside. The singing has met the criteria of having cultural value and being unique, representative, and rooted in the community. 900 delegates from 129 nations recognized 32 out of the 46 nominations as cultural heritage at the session. Nghệ Tĩnh Vi Dặm is Vietnam's 9th intangible cultural heritage to be recognized by UNESCO. After 5 days of competing, the 3rd Hanoi International Film Festival, or HANIF, was officially closed in Hanoi on Thursday. The Vietnamese film Đập Cánh Giữa Không Trung, or Flapping in the Middle of Nowhere by director Nguyễn Hoàng Điệp won the special jury award for the best feature-length film. Prior to that prize, Đập Cánh Giữa Không Trung also won a prize at the 2014 Venice International Film Festival and competed in several international film competitions. Other important prize of this year HANIF was the best feature film, which went to the Russian film Two Women. Iranian director Shahram Morki was awarded the Best Director for his film Fish and Cat. Filipino actor Alan Dizon and the Russian actress Anna Antrakhasteva won the prizes of the Best Leading Actor and Actress.
I feel it.
Tuồng, or Vietnamese traditional opera, will soon be performed in a way that never been seen before. Vietnamese artists are now working hard to combine this traditional Asian art with the typical European piano. The following story will explore what this exotic combination has to offer when it is debuted on November the 29th.
It uses the same time-tested elements that make up the famous traditional play Sacred Fire. However, this time it has a distinctly European twist, as piano melodies are interwoven with tuồng verses.
Và hình thức đưa ra thì tôi với Đặng Tuệ Nguyên đặt ra nó là một hình thức đối thoại, song hành, không phá vỡ bất kể một cái gì của âm nhạc dân gian, âm nhạc truyền thống nói chung.
While still respecting the purity of the original composition, the two genres are blended in harmony. The seamless merger forms a novel and extravagant musical language where the East meets the West.
Tính bạo liệt, lại sâu trong đấy lại những cái tư tưởng triết lý, và nó rất là mở trong cái lối gọi là khi mà mình muốn kết hợp.
Unlike other Vietnamese traditional music genres such as trèo or cải lương, tuồng is characterized by its emotional delivery in its retelling of the dramatic conflicts and tales of heroes. Therefore, the addition of piano should greatly complement the dramatic effects of a tuồng performance.
Tôi cảm nhận rằng giữa âm nhạc phục vụ cho tuồng truyền thống với lại cái tiếng đàn của piano vào thì nó rất là hòa quyện.
In the modern age of commercial pop culture, it has become increasingly difficult to preserve the beauty of traditional art forms. However, this play is a deliberate attempt to rejuvenate Vietnamese traditional opera and give it a whole new dimension to be enjoyed by existing and new audiences in Vietnam.
Vietnamese painter Nguyễn Thương Hy has been awarded the Dai Phu My International Award 2014 for his numerous contributions to preserving and restoring the wooden architecture and heritages. The award was named after famous Japanese carpenter Fumio Tanaka. Nguyễn Thương Hy is the former head of the Professional Bureau of the Quảng Nam Provincial Center for Relics and Beautiful Landscape Management. 19 years ago, he traveled to Japan to study ancient architecture, and he is the first Vietnamese to be awarded the Dai Phu My International Award. Now behind me, as you can see, is the picture of the underwater forest. In Asia, every family should dedicate a small corner of the house to the nature. An underwater forest is among the top choices. In recent years, more and more Vietnamese, especially youngsters, are decorating their homes with aquatic plants. So let's find out more about those mysterious underwater forests and lively aquatic plants in our culture and lifestyle this week.
Look, can you see those tiny beautiful creatures? No, that's a school of fish. The fish here are like aborigines in the jungle. And what I'm talking about here is this underwater jungle. These small plants make up a stunning underwater world.
Aquarium hobby is not a new trend in Vietnam. However, instead of fish tanks with diverse species, aquatic lovers now focus more on aquatic plants. For example, this plant is called Cuban pearl and is grown inside the fish tank to create a green background. So the fish tank looks like the forest, and aquatic lovers love it.
Zhao is a passionate aquarist and has been following his hobby since aquariums first appeared in Vietnam. He and his friends from an aquarium group often meet up to discuss new varieties of aquatic plants and popular trends around the world.
Cũng rất nhiều người thích thú với cái bộ môn thủy sinh này ở cái là mình sẽ tạo được rất nhiều cái cảnh đẹp, nó giống với thiên nhiên, với tự nhiên. Khi mới chơi thủy sinh thì cái quan trọng nhất là phải lưu ý là lọc nước, ánh sáng và CO2. Mà đất nền cũng rất là quan trọng trong cái thú chơi này.
Aquarium are said to have originated in Japan due to their similarities with bonsai art. While bonsai means growing miniature trees in containers to decorate gardens and houses, aquarium means recreating miniature versions of those living landscapes underwater. Aquariums provide a precious breath of nature in crowded urban areas.
Thường là có một số cách sắp đặt rất là rõ nét, đó là cách sắp đặt origami của Nhật và Hà Lan, là phong cách Hà Lan. Thì những cái đấy là nó phụ thuộc vào người chơi họ thích setup theo bố cục nào và setup theo họ chơi theo cái phong cách nào.
Hồi còn đi học thì mình rất hay kiểu cùng với bạn bè đi chơi, thăm thú các cảnh quan rồi đi phượt các thứ. Nhưng mà sau khi bây giờ thì khi đi làm rồi thì cái thời gian dành cho những cái chuyến đi chơi đấy nó không có. Nhưng khi mình làm cái bể thủy sinh này, mình tạo ra những cái khung cảnh đó, những cái khung cảnh như đồi núi, những khung cảnh những khu rừng, mình tạo ra những cái cảnh đấy trong bể thủy sinh thì những lúc mà mệt mỏi thì mình ngồi ngắm nó, một cảm giác như kiểu mình đang đắm chìm vào trong những chuyến đi.
To understand more about this sophisticated hobby, I'm watching Zhao and his friend redesign an aquatic tank.
Cái thú chơi này bây giờ mình thấy mọi người hay nói đến cái bể Iagumi, thì có thể là tư vấn giúp mình làm cho mình thành theo phong cách Iagumi, phong cách của Nhật.
Let's see how this nearly empty tank will transform with grass-like aquatic plants. Stones are first positioned to create the layout for the tank. Then it is slowly filled with water. Finally, tiny aquatic plants are placed into the tank. This first stage of designing an aquatic tank takes these guys nearly 2 hours. Now, he will have to take care of these small trees. And 3 months later, he will have a beautiful aquatic tank like this. Aquariums help people balance themselves and relieve the pressures of work and life. This is no longer a new trend in Vietnam, but enthusiastic and creative youngsters like Zhao and his friends are giving it a refreshing twist and making it more and more attractive.
You are tuning in to Culture Mosaic, our weekly journal featuring the rich cultural diversity of the nation. We hope to become a bridge that connects artists and their work to our viewer out there. So don't go away. We have a lot more in this week's installment coming up for you in just a moment. When it comes to fashion, Italy is often mentioned as one of the world's capital with touchstone trend, designed and legendary designers. One among such designers of the Italian fashion industry for the last century is Raffaella Curiel. She has an enchanted way to combine fine arts and fashion designs, which touches the heart of every art lovers and fashionista all over the world. A recent exhibition in Hanoi, put together by her daughter Gigiola Curiel, has showcased 25 of her best works through time. Let's now find out more about the uniqueness of this collection in an exclusive interview with Gigiola Curiel.
Degas, Klimt, Chagall, and Van Gogh. These are just some of the most well-known names of the world's greatest painters. The powerful strokes, shapes, and colors used by painters can be seen in the delicate fabrics, modern shapes, original details, and refined needlework of Curiel's designs. All of these attributes form the elegant and distinctly feminine collection of Raffaella Curiel, the renowned Italian designer who literally helped shape Italian fashion design in the 20th century. After being exhibited in various countries, the collection has been brought to Vietnamese audiences by her daughter Gigiola, the Curiel's fourth generation of designers.
Hello, Gigiola. Welcome to Vietnam, and thank you for joining our show today.
Thank you.
What brought you to Vietnam this time?
I've been invited from the Italian embassy to bring this exhibition. And actually it was my dream to come to Vietnam, so I didn't think about 1 second.
So this is your first time here?
It is my first time here, yes.
What did you know about Vietnam prior to your trip this time?
I've been always enchanted by the image. I've been looking at television and pictures and books, and was really my dream. Actually, unfortunately, I have to go back right away, and wasn't in the plans, but I'll have a little taste and I'll be back soon, I hope.
So you brought a collection of costumes designed by your mother, Raffaella Curiel, to Vietnam this time. Can you tell a little bit about your family and the family passion for design?
Actually, my family story in fashion is quite old story. We are more than 100 years. The family business started in Trieste, which is a city in the north of Italy, in 1910 with my grandmother's aunt. was under the Austro-Hungarian Empire still. And she used to do all the dresses for the Grand Duchess. And my grandmother started to work with her. And then when the war starts, they escape, of course, and she reopened the workshop in Milano after the Second World War in 1945. And until she got sick, she passed away in 1969. My mother worked already with her, and she opened her own store in 1970 in the center of Milano. And she was the first Italian designer to create a collection in exclusivity for Bird of Goodman in New York. She started to do haute couture in Florence before, and then in Rome. I started to work with her in 1988 while I was studying, and I'm the fourth generation.
How old is she now, and is she still into designing?
Now she's 72. She's like a great force of the nature. She still works a lot. She's the one who wanted to be here. She's very jealous I'm here, but she had to go to New York for some clients, so she sent regards to all people who's listening to me now.
How about the specific collection that you brought to Vietnam this time?
What I brought to Vietnam is like going through some of the collection, or some pieces of the collection she did, some of the art she was inspired, some painters she was inspired of, some of the countries, and the last one that was an homage to Tchaikovsky, the musician. So she made a little story about the Swan Lake. Actually, I just brought one piece, which is the White Swan. And then we have some homage to painters, so to Picasso, to Klimt, to Frida Kahlo, to Van Gogh.
Although the idea of combining fine arts and fashion design is not new to designers, the uniqueness of Curiel's haute couture collection still stands out for her fabric choices and her detail-oriented techniques.
Exactly. They are using taffeta, they are using satin, they are using organza. All this material is disappearing. So the fact they are using this material with a sophisticated embroidery, unique colors, make this collection something really unique.
Besides the very feminine fabric used and the vibrant colors, Curiel focuses keenly on details. Most of the fabric's fine arts patterns are hand-painted and then processed to preserve their color. Every detail in the embroidery is handmade with regard to the original painting's texture, lighting, and artistry. Together, these unique qualities have made the collection truly a work of art, but one that can be easily worn.
Những yếu tố kinh điển được đưa vào trang phục thì thể hiện lên trang phục mặc vẫn kết hợp được trong cuộc sống thường ngày, thì mình thấy rằng là nhà thiết kế đã có một cái tính ứng dụng nhất định vào cái bộ sưu tập của mình.
Every costume has his own story because they have so much details inside. Maybe people looking at them like this can't say, but let's say this jacket is made out. This picture of Picasso is all hand painted by my mother. And of course, if you look at this like this, it's, she just copied the painter like this, but every single detail is hand painted by her. Also, the shawl from the ballerina of Degas is exactly the same print of the picture, and has printed on wool. Also the fringe is all handmade, and then all the ballerina is hand stitched and hand embroidered.
So this is not just simply designing, it's like the transformation of art and the inspiration of the painting through fashion design. So how long does it usually take to make a complete design in this collection?
A lot, because every single detail is, we still do everything by hand. I know here in Asia, in your kind of country, you still used to do a lot of things by hand, but unfortunately in our country, we're losing this kind of attitude more and more, and it's really a pity. So we have very, very, very few people who still do it. So this is a very pity for us, and so I hope that young people will start again to have this kind of culture.
Thank you very much for your time, and we wish to welcome you back with another impressive collection of Curiel family soon in Hanoi.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our Connecting Culture this week is also dedicated to fashion, one of the best ways for cultural exchanges between two countries. With similarities and differences, Vietnamese and Filipinos came together in a fashion show held in Hanoi last weekend to learn from each other's traditional costumes and their modern renditions. Let's join me to find out the special elements of this fashion show. About 40 creations from 4 fashion collections are set to take to the catwalk. The show started with an outside collection inspired by the daily lives and work of Vietnamese women. The acrylic on silk patterns were modified from the symbols of hibiscus flowers, rice, fish, the sea, lemons, and lotus flowers. Children are always a crowd pleaser, and boys and girls of less than 10 years of age have brought laughter to the audience. Last but not least is a collection of 10 improvised traditional costumes from the Philippines. The materials and designs are similar to the traditional Filipino terno.
Traditional of them, the clothes is very, very interesting for the people. We show that, and it's some we want to bring that to the new market. It's not. It's always they make is own traditional. We can use that material for the modern.
Now you just have a chance to contemplate some dozens of traditional costumes from Vietnam and the Philippines. But why these costumes are on show? Who are the models on stage? And what is the real story behind these materials? Well, let's follow me to turn back the hand of time to a few hours ago and join a rehearsal to find out the answer.
So, sample again. She is already on that part. When she comes back, go.
Filipino fashion show director Norin Belind is instructing his models from Vietnam and the Philippines with some minor changes in the final rehearsal a few hours before the show. However, this is not an ordinary fashion show, and the models are not professionals. They are local microfinance borrowers who have successfully escaped poverty.
Đây lần đầu tiên xuống Hà Nội mà sân khấu to này chị cũng lần đầu tiên ạ.
Joining them are staff from the 3 Vietnamese microfinance organizations and their colleagues from the Philippines-based Card Mutually Reinforcing Institution. This Filipino organization has helped Vietnam develop microfinance services for nearly 2 decades now.
The idea of this show is about the the exchange of culture between Vietnam and the Philippines. As I was instructed before, that this is the first time to bring the Philippine-made costumes together with the Vietnam cultures and also the costumes of the Vietnamese.
These amateur models showcase outfits made with raw materials produced by microfinance borrowers from both countries. The locally made materials and finished products are also on display at booths set up around the catwalk.
Cũng là từ những cái tấm thổ cẩm mình tự dệt và hiện tại bây giờ thì chúng tôi cũng được hỗ trợ về cái làm những cái mẫu mã sản phẩm mới, như là làm những cái túi từ những cái tấm vải thổ cẩm của mình có thể làm ra những cái túi sách nhỏ như này và những hình những con thú và một số những cái tấm tranh treo tường thì chúng tôi đã làm ra được rất là nhiều những cái mẫu mã sản phẩm cho khách hàng trong và ngoài nước cũng rất yêu chuộng đến những cái mặt hàng của chúng tôi ạ.
This is a very good technology of introducing the client's product to the public, because when you have this fashion show, you have models, and models display or demonstrate the products, and I think this will create awareness to the suppliers, to the companies, to the market suppliers that these products are existing, and therefore this will be good for the poor.
In the Philippines, 10 fashion shows like these have been organized by CART MRI around the country, acting as venues to link microfinance clients to the mainstream market. Following the success of the show in Hanoi, CART is planning to organize another event in Bangkok to gather microfinance organizations and their clients from ASEAN countries, including Vietnam, Thailand, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Hoài Lương, Vietnam Television, Hanoi. And that is the end of our program. If you would like to provide feedback or comment on anything here on Culture Mosaic, please feel free to write to us at culturemosaic@vtv.vn and make sure to include your name and address. You can also log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go for more of our program. Don't forget to join us next week for another episode of Culture Mosaic. I'm Hoài Lương, and goodbye for now.